Hey everyone, welcome to Practical AD channel. Today we are going to talk about AD integrity in order to fulfill a requirement from sys control. So let's go with the video. So what we are going to use for the next activity is first two machines. One of them is a domain controller and another one, it works as a client, but it can be with Windows Server operative system, okay? Um, The operative system itself can be whatever, but if we are going to use Windows Server 2022 23H2 version or Windows Server 2025 or on the client side Windows 11, we will have two more policies that are not on the older operative systems. Okay. In our case, we are going to use just Windows Server 2025 in order to check all the policies and in order to see what is the result of changing them. Another thing that we have on the domain controller is a certificate. It is issued from an enterprise certification authority. It can be self-signed certificate. The only thing it is required to have server authentication as an intended purpose. So the certificate is required for LDAPS, okay? Also, I have installed Wireshark in both machines, in the domain controller and on the client machine, because I want to show you how is the traffic inside the network. So, and in the case that you use a client machine with Windows 11 or Windows 10, you must know that you need to install the RSAT tools. But if you are using a Windows Server, you only need to install the Active Directory Domain Services role. What I The only difference between this and have a domain controller is that you don't need to promote the machine, the server as a domain controller. You only need to have, Windows Server with this rule, but not promoted as a domain controller. Okay, so let's go with the video. So first of all, what is the main difference between LDAP, LDAPS, and LDAP Secure? Mainly, there is some kind of confusion here because it is not very well described by official guides. Okay, so the first concept, that is LDAP, is the most easiest one because it's just the simple protocol. It goes through port 389 by default, and it is not encrypted with a certificate. Okay, LDAP-S usually goes through port 636, and it is encrypted with a certificate. It uses SSL. Okay. The other concept that is the most confusing one is LDAP Secure, which usually is described as LDAP-S, okay, but sometimes it's also described as just LDAP with signing, sealing, so other ways to encrypt the traffic, not just with a certificate, not just with SSL, okay. So depending on where you are going to find out this information, you will see one description of another one, and maybe you will go to this confusion as well. Okay. But the main question here, which is the concept that we are going to work? So we are going to work against connections that are going to use LDAP that is not secure. So LDAP secure is just the thing that Microsoft requires for. Then what we need to fulfill the requirements from the LDAP server signing policy. So we only need LDAP secure. In other words, we need either LDAP signed or LDAP encrypted with a certificate. So in other way, LDAP-S, but it is not just LDAP-S. you can fulfill the requirements with LDAP and sign the traffic. So what kind of policies do we have? Depending on the Windows version that we are using, we will have either 2 or 4 policies, different policies that controls this sys control, okay? From server side, in this case, for domain controllers, we have 2 group policies in Windows Server 2025, also in Windows Server 2022 23H2 version, but on any other Windows Server version, we only have one of them, okay? And for client side, we have, again, 2 more policies, but only one of them is for Windows 11, okay? Or again, Windows Server 2025 or Windows Server 2022 23H2 version. So if we are using just legacy systems, we will only have 2 policies, one for domain controller and another one for client side. If we are working with new Windows versions, we will have 4 policies, 2 for domain controllers, 2 for clients. The policies are these ones. Okay, we are going to start just with the domain controller ones. Okay. This is the policy that is in all Windows versions. Well, it's starting, I think that from 2022 updates. So this group policy, you should have this, okay? That is for server signing requirements. And then this one that is for 2025 or 2022 23H2 version is an enforcement. We are going to change them. It's quite easy. It's just going to policies, Windows settings. I mean, it's on the same, on the, here you can see the whole path, right? Security settings, local policies, security options. And then if we scroll, okay, no, it's here. So we have here these 2 group policies, okay? Both of them are based on the same concept, okay? It's just to require signing, either require signing or not required. There are not too many options. And the other one, that is the new one, is for enforcement. So what this means, okay, it's very easy. It's just that if you have here, for example, require signing, okay, you are requiring signing. But if you click here on none and you click, oh, sorry, and you click on the enforcement on enable, you're going to require server signing as well. So why this was released by Microsoft and why this is the new one? Because Microsoft's idea is just to enforce in the new versions. Okay, so by default, this enforcement is enabled on Windows Server 2025. But as this policy doesn't exist on older operative systems, it's not going to change them. It's not going to uh, create an impact when you install the new version. It is just going to impact the new machines that are going to connect to this new domain controller that has the new version. So it is some way to uh, harden the domain, but to mitigate impact, or you know don't have the great impact of having all the domain controllers with this enforcement. And also, if if no one is doing anything at all, the hardening is happening, right? No one should have to do nothing because the enforcement is by default. So I think that this is the logic behind this new group policy. Okay, and as I said, this is enabled by default. So if we have to, if we are going to have any LDAP connections that cannot use signing, we have to change this to disable and also to set this to none. So let's see. Just to give some piece of information, okay, I'm going to do this. As you may say, well, this is very well known, right? GP update / force to update the group policy. So as I have this on none and this on disable, this will get effect. Okay. Also, these group policies have their equivalent registry keys. Okay, I need to check them. Where are they? Because I have no such good memory to remember all the registry keys. Where are they? Okay, so it is on system current control set, services, NTDS. Okay, NTDS. Where it is? Sorry, NTDS and parameters. Okay, here we have two registry keys. Okay, that are based on these group policies. So we're going to do some kind of, it's not a game, but we're going to play with the policies. Okay, here, this is the enforcement. Okay, LDAP server enforce integrity that is on 0. 0 means disabled. Okay, and this is the, what we have put it here. Okay, we are going to change it to enable. Click on apply, on yes, okay, GP update / force, and we're going to see that this registry key that is now on 0 now is on 1. Okay, that means enable. Okay, we're going to play with the other one. Server signing requirements is in none, set as none, and we are going to change it to require signing. Apply, yes, okay. And on the registry, we have LDAP servers integrity set on 1, that means none, okay. And if we do GP update / force, very quickly, this registry key changes to 2, that means require signing, okay. So the meaning of this registry keys, LDAP server integrity is the equivalent of LDAP server signing requirements. If it's set as 0, sorry, as 1 is none, set as 2 is required signing. The other registry key, LDAP server enforce integrity, if it has 0 as a value, it is disabled, and if it has 1, it is enabled. Okay, we're going to just put them in the most unsafe way. Okay, because we are going to play a lot, so this is what we need. Okay, I'm going to close this group policy, and we are going to check the other one that is for the client side. Okay, so we have two, as I mentioned before. One is for signing and the other one is for sealing. Okay, they are two different concepts, but both of them affects on signing, affects on the hardening that Microsoft has set up. Okay, and the client signing requirements is for all Windows versions, while the other one, the encryption requirements, is just on Windows 11 and Windows Server 25 and Windows Server 2020, well, as I mentioned before, I think that I am repeating a lot, but yeah, Windows Server 2022 23H2. Okay. Okay, I'm going to maximize this window, and well, it's always on this path, right? So it's always the same path. I need to just give more space for the left. I have a lot. And here they are. Okay, network security and LDAP encryption requirements. It has three different options: non-negotiate sealing, require sealing. And from the client side, sorry, for the other one for signing, it has again three different values that have non, require signing, or negotiate signing. Okay, I'm going to put both on none. Okay, and I'm going to do GP update slash force, and I'm going to check the registry keys as I did before. So let me check. I think that they are in the most in a similar, yeah, path. It's just LDAP. Okay, so the path. Okay, I don't see my. Okay. The path is more or less the same. Instead of NTDS, we are going to LDAP. Okay, and we have here. It only shows one registry key at this moment. I don't know if I press F5. Okay, I only have one. Okay, good. Well, the reason is because I am not in the this group policy is not applying to my system. Sorry. So I can go to the other system that I have. That is a Windows Server, again, Windows Server 2025. Okay, and I'm going to regedit if it allows me. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. Regedit. And here they are. Okay. They are set as 0 and as 2, but I need to do a GP update slash false. Okay. And if I press F5, now they are both set as 0. Why? Because we have changed the group policy, right? And now we have both unknown. Okay. Which are the values? None is 0, negotiate ceiling is 1, required ceiling is 2. The same thing for signing. None is 0, negotiate signing is 1, required signing is 2. Okay. I'm going to change them to 1 to negotiate both. Okay, just to show up this, show how they change. Okay, again I will do a GP update slash force and press F5. Both they are now in 1. I think that I'm doing this. I know that maybe it's a lot of things. Okay, but repeating myself. But okay, now in require, and again GP update slash force, and I press F5, and both they are on to. Okay, LDAP client integrity is for signing. LDAP client confidentiality, maybe I'm not spelling well, sorry. It's for sealing. Okay, LDAP sealing. So now I'm going to again set them to 0. Okay, I want to have it as much unsafe as possible. Why? Because this is a lab environmental, so I'm not in a production, and my intention is to show up how this works. Okay, and how to track the changes. So okay, now I have everything allowing me to use LDAP without any kind of encryption. Okay, so In this Windows server, I am not on a domain controller. Okay, it has the Active Directory, domains and trusts, and all the all the tools for Active Directory. But this is not a domain controller. Okay, it's just that I installed the rule, but I didn't promote this server as a domain controller. Okay. Another way is to use, for example, a Windows 11 machine and install the RS, RSAT tools. I don't know if it's well spelled. It's RSAT tools. Okay. So what we are going to check now is I'm going to open a Windows PowerShell. It could be um, CMD, a command prompt, okay? And I'm running this command ldp.exe to have the LDP console. That is quite helpful to check these things, okay? So I'm going to connect to my domain, that is lab1.local through port 389, so means LDAP, basic LDAP without SSL, basic LDAP as much as possible, okay? And I'm going to click here again on connection and do the bind. Okay. Here I have there are many options. Okay. And before doing the bind, I have here installed Wireshark. So I would like to track the traffic. Okay. Just to show you. First of all, simple blind. Okay. I'm going to do this. I got authenticated with a simple bind that is not encrypted with TLS. So this is the most unsafe way to authenticate yourself. Okay. And if I go to the bind request, okay, I'm going to check and see that this is my password. Okay. Oh, my password. Well, I don't care. This is a lab environment. You are not going to hack me. I saw thing. So, okay, this is very ridiculous. Some someone that can act as man in the middle can got my password. So this is why Microsoft is trying to stop these very unsafe authentications through LDAP. Okay, great. I'm going to start a new network trace. Oh, sorry, it's in Spanish, the Wireshark. I didn't realize, but okay. It's just yeah, the menus, the information is in English as always. Okay. Okay, disconnect. This is very important. Otherwise, the bind will not show in the network trace, and I think that will not work. Again, with port 389, okay. And now I'm going to do the bind, and now I'm going to do it with NTLM, but without encryption. This is the checkbox that signs traffic. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put the same password. Now, simple bind requires this way to introduce the credentials, but NTLM is by this way. Okay. Again, authenticated. Okay, I'm going to stop the network trace, and I'm going to check the NTLM, if I'm not wrong, this one. Why I chose NTLM? Because I can see this, and this is very good to see. I am not using negotiate sign, okay? And I can show you, and I can, demonstrate that this is how it's working. And now we're going back to the domain controller, because here we have events, and we have two events. Okay, the first one, it was when I when I reproduce the simple byte, okay? And well, the information is quite, well, it is showing everything, okay? My user account, my IP address, and the binding type. What is the binding type? Okay, here it is saying perform either SASL byte without requesting signing, or perform a simple byte over a clear text, non-SSL, TLS encrypted, LDAP connection. So binding type 1 means the second one. Binding type 0 means the first one. That is another reason of why I chose NTLM, because it's the other binding type here in the event log, okay? This is good to track the traffic that is going through LDAP that is unsecure. Um, the only bad thing about this is that the event 2889 shows up even when we are stopping this traffic, okay? So it will show up even when it's not allowed, but that will be after the hardening, right? Um, One thing that I didn't show up here is, well, there are two requirements. Um, so this event doesn't show up by default, okay? This 2889 event doesn't show up just without doing anything at all. What we need to see this event is another registry key that is here in system current control set. I was in a good place, but it's in control. No, it's not control, sorry. Again, it's in services and TDS, so it was more or less the same one as I was before. NTDS here, diagnostics, and here I have 16 LDAP interface events. Okay, the word can have values from 0 to 5, okay? And as much number you introduce here, you will got more logging. With value 2, you will have the event 2889. You don't need more value. And maybe this, you know, you will only modify this registry key just to track this traffic, and after that, when you have everything hardened, so LDAP secure, just LDAP secure, you will change it again to 0. I don't know. You can do as you prefer, as your cybersecurity team say, whatever, okay? But what we need here to start tracking the traffic, tracking the unsecured LDAP connections, is to set this to 2, because otherwise we will not have information of IP addresses, usernames that are connecting through LDAP, okay, without security. So this is a requirement. Another requirement is a certificate for the domain controller. Okay, this registry key, sorry, this registry key has to be on all domain controllers, okay? Otherwise, you will got events on some domain controllers, but on other domain controllers, you will not have the traffic, the auditing, the logging. So, yeah, it should be in all domain controllers with value 2 as a minimum, okay? Um, I don't recommend to have more. And also, if you put it on 5, you will go crazy because there are lots of events. Okay. Another prerequisite is a certificate for the domain controller. Here I have for all domain controllers. I mean, each domain controller with its own domain with its own certificate. Sorry. So here I have a certificate for my domain controller that is based on Kerberos authentication certificate template, and well, it has the intended purpose of server authentication. That I think that is the only one that I require for LDAPS, if I am not wrong. Okay. However, there is you use the Kerberos authentication template and you got the LDAPS certificate. Okay, it is possible to do LDAPS connections. Okay, we are going to change a little bit or we are going to test a little bit more from client side. So again, we need to disconnect and we need to connect again. Okay, we are going to connect again through port 389 and we're going to do a bind. It does not mind which one you choose. Okay, and this, well, it does mind, sorry. We are not going to go to use simple bind because it doesn't allow me to encrypt traffic, so it will be just another test that is repeated. Okay, and I'm going to encrypt traffic and I'm going to again start tracking the network trace. So click on OK. I got authenticated. Here I have my bind request and my bind response. I can stop the network traffic. Well, I was wrong in one thing because here I cannot see the flags. Okay, this is Kerberos, but if I'm not wrong, there is no. Well, I don't know if this means signing. I don't think so. Mutual required, but Kerberos doesn't show us as NTLM, doesn't show the information in a very specific way as NTLM, perhaps because it's encrypted. Kerberos has a ticket that is encrypted with user account's password, with time, and with service account password. So it is encrypted several times, and maybe because of this, I don't have in the network trace, I don't have that information. But what if okay, I'm going to disconnect again, connect again through 389 without SSL, then do a bind and start again the network trace and NTLM but encrypted. Okay, I need to put sorry, I need to put the password and I was wrong, sorry. Only password, not password 2. And now I am here. Okay, we will see the traffic and here sign is set. Okay, and sealing as well. So that checkbox, okay, of encrypt traffic uh, require me, well, after checking the checkbox, now I have negotiate, sign, negotiate, seal. So it is doing what it's expected, right? What if we perform LDAP-S? So LDAP with SSL, okay, 4636 into here, okay. So I was able to authenticate, to connect, sorry, with SSL, with the certificate of the domain controller. Now we are going to perform bind. I'm going to perform simple bind, okay? That is the most um, unsecure them, right? We have seen the um, the sorry, the password. And here I don't see any LDAP packet at all. Why? Because it is encrypted. It is encrypted with TLS, and it's encrypted with TLS because of the domain controller certificate. So I cannot see the traffic. I cannot see what is here. Okay, everything is encrypted with the private key of the certificate of the domain controller, and normally you don't have the private key of the domain controller's certificate. I mean, from client side, right? Um, okay, I was wrong in one thing that I'm going to again collect the data, collect the network range just to show you. Okay, if I connect through 636, sorry, here I see, the TLS starting with client hello, server hello, so everything is well. Okay, and then I can see the application data. Okay, everything is encrypted, but started with, client hello, server hello. I can do again the bind. It can be either simple bind, it can be everything. I mean, anything. Kerberos, NTLM. I'm not going to see anything. I'm not going to see LDAP packets. Okay, so that is good, and that is why, okay, as I have, you know, tested a lot of times now, here, if I refresh here, I'm not going to see any 2889 event. This last one was before, right? So why? Because all the binds that I did before were either encrypted with TLS or encrypted with signing. So they are good enough for Microsoft. Um, so what if I change the group policy from not from client side, just for domain controllers? Okay, I'm going to edit, and I'm going to change this one. LDAP server sign requirements require signing. Okay, so this can be either for Windows Server 2025 or older Windows Server versions, because this policy, sorry, is in all Windows Server versions. Okay. Um, okay, I need to perform GP update slash force on the domain controller. And after this, well, it is quick. Okay, so I don't need to wait a lot. I'm going to just do the connections from LDP. I'm going to disconnect, connect with, again, 389 without SSL. Okay, the connection is good. But what if I try a simple one? For example, remember that this has a different way to introduce the name. Oh, the server requires bind to turn on integrity checking SSL. So a more secure authentication method is required for this server. I'm not able to authenticate myself. So I cannot get the tree from the domain and see all the objects, okay? It's showing no children. So, okay, I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to connect again through 8389, form a bind with NTLM, not encrypted, okay? Again, here, change this way to set up the user. I'm not sure if I written well the password now. Yes, And again, a more secure authentication method is required for this server. From domain controller, we will see the events, okay? If I'm not wrong, yeah, here, okay. Binding type 1, that means simple bind. Binding type 0, that means the SASL, okay, on that bind. Okay, but it didn't allow me to continue, so I cannot get information from the domain. Okay, I cannot get anything from here. My user is not authenticated, so I'm not allowed to continue. If I try to, disconnect, connect again, well, 389, okay, perform a bind, but now I'm going to encrypt the traffic. It can be either with NTLM, either with uh, Kerberos, negotiate, digest. Okay, can try with many things. I got to try with negotiate. Okay, okay, I got authenticated, and if I try to got the information from the domain, I can, well, I'm going to show you more information. Okay, so I see here the computers container, domain controllers of you, foreign security principles. So they are all here. Okay, I can see all the direct. Great, because I got authenticated. Okay, so what I did with this group policy from domain controller is to require signing. It can be, oh, well, there is one more check. Um, let's disconnect, connect again, but now with port 636 and SSL, okay? And perform a bind. And now we're going to do simple bind. That was, as I mentioned, the most unsecure one. And I got authenticated with simple bind. But the traffic is encrypted as I showed you before. So it doesn't mind. It's encrypted. So I can got information from my directory. I can perform the LDAP bind. It is enough with enough security. Okay, I could try with many other ways. I don't want to be so much repetitive. Okay, but you can perform a bind with either simple bind with credentials, can be encrypted. I mean, with signing and sealing, it does not mind. Okay, it does absolutely not mind. I'm going to perform authentication, and I got authenticated, and I can check all the objects from my domain. Okay, at least the ones that I have permissions on this. Okay, so that was the purpose of this group policy. It requires me either signing or TLS, SSL, I mean certificate authentication with LDAPS. So, what about the other option? Okay, it's the same. It's the same thing. Okay, I can have this with enabled and this set up as none. Okay, and the result will be exactly the same. Okay, I can perform just one check to you, but it's exactly the same. No, doesn't have any difference here. Okay, so if I perform again this connection, connect through port 389 without SSL, I try to perform simple bind, I will got denied because uh, well, This SSL are not already active. The connection, a more secure authentication method is required for this server. Okay. The same thing if I try to connect, with credentials that are not encrypted. Okay. Again, more secure authentication method is required for this server. Again, if I try with 3A9 and with a bind, but with encryption, okay, I got authenticated. But I'm not going to be more repetitive. I think that is pretty clear, right? So what more we can check? Okay, as this forces us to use LDAP signing or encryption, I'm going to disable again. Okay, I'm going to perform GP update slash force. And now we are going to change the policies from client side. Okay. One important thing from these group policies, the client should be rebooted. So we must restart the client to have these settings applying with what we need, with what we want. Okay. So at this moment, I think that, okay, both are on none. Okay. So I'm going to edit this group policy and okay, we are going to start with just with client signing requirements, and I'm going to put negotiate signing. Okay, what is the difference between negotiate signing and require signing? It is not so much, okay? Negotiate signing requires signing when you are not using SSL, while it doesn't require signing when you don't use SSL. Okay, it is very tricky because normally, if you use SSL, it doesn't mind the other thing, right? You are already encrypted, but okay. So it's some way to, you know, with none, we don't have any encryption if we don't want. With negotiate signing, we have at least one encryption. We can have two, but it does not mind. And with required signing, we will have minimum one encryption as well. We will have at least signing because it doesn't change when we use port 389. Okay, so we are going to change just this. Okay, negotiate signing. Okay, and um, now I am on the client side and gp update slash force. I'm going to close everything because it doesn't mind now. I'm going to reboot the machine as I mentioned before. Because I need it. Okay. And I'm going to check again ldp.exe and I'm going to open again Wireshark. Because this will be very, very interesting, okay? In my opinion. Um, so I'm going to connect. I'm going to connect with 3A9. I'm going to perform bind. And I'm going to perform simple bind. Okay, authenticated. Great. Why? You will ask yourself why? Because this has no no reason, right? I mean, we have put some kind of hardening and it's still working with simple bind. That is the most dangerous one. Okay. Um, Simple bind cannot be encrypted. So mm, that is why we are passing this door. Again, we will got 2889 event binding type 1, which means simple bind. Okay, this hardening is not as good as blocking from domain controllers. That is the first evidence. Okay, it allows to use simple bind. That is the most dangerous one. Okay, what about the other ones? More interesting in my opinion here. So I'm going to disconnect, connect again, 3A9, bind, bind with. I'm going to use again NTLM, okay? And no encryption. Authenticated, okay. Why? I didn't encrypt, right? It's just what I think, but it's not what it is. Because here, if I check negotiate flags, okay, negotiate sign is set up. It is signing the traffic, not sealing, but at least signing. Why? Because of the policy. What it does is group policy is to sign the traffic. If if there is no TLS on the connection, the LDAP bind request is initiated with the LDAP data signing option set. So it does not mind what I set up here on the LDAP connection. It didn't change anything. I mean, I could either click here or don't click here, but the encryption, the signing will be there. So it does not mind click here or not. Well, there is one difference I can tell you. I'm going to again perform a new network trace. Disconnect, connect, bind. Okay, now we are going to encrypt the traffic. Stop network trace and see here. Okay. Negotiate sign is set and negotiate seal as well. Okay. We have a little more security. It's more encrypted, this traffic. Great. About the other encryptions, I mean the other bind, sorry, it does not mind. It's the same thing. Okay. We haven't changed anything at all more than this. So when we perform connections with 3A9 SSL, if we click here or not, it does not mind because the LDAP bind will be signed. Okay. So it does not mind if I choose NTLM, bind with credentials, bind as currently logged user, okay, or even with negotiate or digest, it does not mind. So the other results will be the same as NTLM. And about connecting with 636, it will work. It does not mind. It will always work, okay? It's encrypted, the traffic, so even with simple bind, it will work with all the security, with all the group policies set up. So I'm not going to show that. It's not giving us anything. Okay. Well, we have this another group policy. I'm going to change. Okay, sorry. We didn't put this on required signing, but it's just how to say. So in negotiate signing, that is how it is now. Okay, I can do this. I can do a connection with 636 SSL. Okay, a bind, and here I can uncheck encrypt traffic, and the this signing will not be forced. So okay, I cannot see that on the network trace because, as you will remember, um, with TLS the traffic is encrypted. Okay, but is what Microsoft says. So I'm very confident that there is no signing if I perform with 636 and with any of these options and without this checkbox. Okay. What about the other group policy? What about this? So I'm going to change this to none. Okay. Sorry, to none, and change this to negotiate seating. Okay. Um, Remember that this policy is just for Windows 11 or Windows Server 2022 23H2 version or Windows Server 2025. Okay. I need to perform GP update slash force. I'm going to close everything because I need to reboot my machine again. Okay. Okay. LDAP.exe and Wireshark. Okay. Connection connect again 389 without SSL. Bind. We are not to check encrypt traffic after bind with NTLM. Okay. Let's see. I got authenticated. And here negotiate flags, seal and sign are set up. So now it does not mind this checkbox. Okay. It doesn't change anything at all. With that policy, the encryption happens either if I check it or not. Sealing is happening, signing is happening. I have set up only the negotiate sealing policy. Sorry, the negotiate sealing policy, and is requiring me both. Okay. So it is another way to, harden this signing. It only happens with port 389. I mean, without SSL, it doesn't require if I use 636, but as I mentioned, TLS traffic is encrypted. I cannot see it on Wireshark, so I can show you. Well, there is one way to decrypt the traffic on Wireshark. There is one way, but it doesn't mind. I think that you will trust me, you will trust Microsoft. Uh, there are lots of checks that can be done, right? It's I think that is the most important thing here is just to understand these four group policies and what are their response. Okay. If I try to perform simple bind, it will again happen. It does not mind. Oh, sorry, maybe I didn't. Oh, well, I can disconnect, connect again, and perform simple bind. Also, I didn't put well this name, so. And again, I got authenticated. It does not mind the group policy from client side. Okay. So here in the domain controller, I can see again the 2889 event showing with binding type 1 that is not secure, all that stuff. Okay. So, well, we can try to, put all the settings in requiring in, you know, just to have the most secure way to perform LDAP from client side, from domain controller side. That is what we want, right? So we can put this in enabled. Okay, I can put this on required signing, and as long as we just put one of these two on all domain controllers, mm, it is requiring for all systems. It does not mind if it's Windows or Linux, because maybe this Linux doesn't got the group policy and doesn't have to adapt to the domain. So the most important ones are the from the domain controller side, but if we are trying to start with something, we have the ones from client side, right? Okay, I'm going to just um, to do a GP update on both sides with the most secure settings. I will need again to reboot the client. Okay. Um, so now I have everything with, I'm going to refresh. Now I have everything forced, require signing, the enforcement is enabled. And for client side, we have set up LDAP client encryption for sealing. We require sealing. And for client signing, we require signing. So now we have everything enabled, everything hardened. Our final goal would be to have LDAP requiring signing, sealing, and integrity. It is not an easy task. You need to contact all teams from your organization. Sometimes they will have some kind of legacy applications that usually cannot change from LDAP secure to, I mean, from LDAP unsecure to LDAP secure. But it is a security requirement for everyone. You cannot be in the legacy mode for 10 more years. I don't know. It is not what we want, right? Well, this is my very first video. I hope that you enjoy it. I would like to hear your comments. Also, if something that is not well explained or something that I can improve. Okay. My way for these videos is to be more practical rather than theoretical. Okay. I don't like to talk about protocols in a way that, oh, this works like this, but this is, you know, this is the first thing of the protocol, this is the second one, this is the third one. That way, that theoretical way usually don't go anywhere. I mean, at some point it can help for sure, but when you are a systems administrator, it is more common to have problems on deploying these policies, on changing these registry keys, understanding which one is required. So that is my approach. Okay. Uh, Another thing that I must say is that I have not a lot of free time. Okay. And these videos are recorded by with my free time. So I hope that I can, I don't know, maybe create a video per 2, 3 weeks, maybe by a month. As this one has, it was very long, okay. I am not sure, but I am more confident on one per a month. But okay. So okay, I hope that you can enjoy these videos, and let's see on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye bye.